Hey there, how you doing? Charlie Winters here with horse racing tips for Monday, the 21st of April, and they are for Redcar, Fairyhouse, I believe, Cork, and Wolverhampton. So you'll have to bear with me. Unfortunately, I had some bad news again yesterday. I lost another one of my chickens, and for those of you that are well aware, I'm very attached to my chickens. I could never quite find out what was wrong with it, and unfortunately, it passed yesterday in my arms. So I'm absolutely gutted. I probably made too many mistakes, but I did everything I could, and yeah, a bit emotional at the moment. Yeah, I wasn't until I started this video, but right, let's get into it. So I'm gonna keep this. Oh God, I'm gonna keep this relatively brief. But I'm gonna try my best to keep it brief. But there are six. I think there's seven selections. There's two in one race, so it's hard to put a straight each way lucky 63 on. So what I've had to do, I've had to basically do it manually. So I'm going to give you the horses, and then you decide what you want to do with them. Basically, I've gone for some tasty prices. I'll explain why, and well, and that's all you need to know. So what I have had each way singles on all of them. There's some tasty prices, and then so I'm going to show you the each way double. So I'm going to show you everything that I've had. I'm going to close the tab in a minute, and you can literally see the blue bars going across that tells you the stake. So in the first race, I've gone for B positive in the 115 at Cork. Well, I sat and watched Flat Cat Callum's video early hours this morning. I thought I'll nip to Cork for an hour. So I look at Cork races, and I'm absolutely garbage in Ireland. I don't normally follow the form, and I don't think you always can. I think normally you're looking for most duck eggs, and then seeing a very odd price, much shorter than it should be, and then they normally run well. But that's not the case in this horse. So this horse, it's better than the form shows. I was surprised at the odds. I think it was odds on favourite, a relatively short price second favourite, and then huge afterwards. Or they were like 8s, 14s. Then also it jumped up to 33s, and I thought, well, can I give this a chance? Well, I did look at the form, and there are bits of form where it has actually ran some okay races. I'm not going to elaborate too much on this because, to be honest, I can't remember too much about him. I did have a good look, and it was the first one I selected because I did really like the look of it. So have a look for yourself. Tell me what you think if you want to in the comments. So let's go on to the second race, some more obvious ones. So Little Muddy, I've left the price in the 155 at Redcar. This pays 4 places instead of 3. This is always Sky Bet. So as you're well aware, it's Redcar, and I've in the past I've been all over the draw bias. And to be honest, I think there probably still is a draw bias, but you have to get that far to try and get to it. That's how they've tried to nullify it. Well, you did even see in the last meeting where they were still heading towards the far side, even though they stuck towards the middle. I think it was in the first race. Well, going back to last year, there was extreme draw biases. It was very tricky because they would all dash over to the far side. And by the end of the meeting, which I've explained before, it was horses that normally came from behind or stayed up the middle because there were that much pace on the rail or trying to get to the rail. They were burning themselves up after 3 furlongs, in the sprints. So it kind of like made a farce of the draw bias, which was obvious, but because they'd gone that quick to try and get the draw bias, they burnt themselves up. So Little Muddy, this horse, it needs slower ground. That's my concern. Otherwise, it would have been Manap. It's ridiculously well handicapped now. I think it's running over a stone lighter now than it was just over a year ago, or around about a year ago. It's had 2 recent runs and it's actually ran well, but it has got form on good to firm, but not much of it. So I think it does handle it. It's probably not at its best on good to firm. It's a poor race, and as I said, this horse has plummeted down the rankings. I think it's got a chance, and I think it's about 8 or 10 to 1, which is, in my opinion, it's too big. This is probably going to be my nap, not because it's the most confident of it coming placed. It's because I think they've got the value completely wrong. I think this is currently the outside of the lot, and the horse is Billy Bathgate. It's currently 18 to 1. That is completely wrong in my opinion. But I've left the price hoping that it gets even bigger, being greedy. Well, we know that don't always work out. From was it Thunder Wonder? What was it? 11s, 8s, or whatever it was, and return 4s for us on Saturday. So Billy Bathgate in the 210 at Wolverhampton, paying 4 places instead of 3. This was recently bought by. In fact, let me just double check that because I don't want to get confused with another one. Just give me a second. I'm just going to a different screen. You don't need to see it. I'm just going to confirm whether this is the reason. So best odds are apparently 20 to 1 at the moment. In fact, I'll show you this tab now. So that's right. So as you can see there, T Cox now owns it after Elizabeth Ferguson on the 21st of February 2025. So it's a regular all-weather performer. I'll go back a bit further. It seems like, to me, yeah, like an all-weather performer. You can see several races there, mainly not at Wolverhampton. It's ran a poor race down there, and then it's ran a decent race behind Easter Icon. If it replicates that, I know it's over 1 mile 6, but if it replicates that, it's off a £5 lower mark. Well, if that runs exactly to that, in my opinion, it wins the race. But it's not exactly that consistent. So it's been running on the all-weather, running well. 12th of April last year. Right up to early summer. Not quite sure why they packed in there. I'd say 2 for the gutter is probably better than this race. So it's then sold. So then it reappears at Newcastle. And I don't think you can see this, but it says held up in rear, outpaced 2 out, keeping on when not clear run repeatedly inside final furlong, no impression. Jockey said denied a clear run. Okay, so it ran off 51 under a mark of 48. The 48 is what it's off today. I know that's a racing post rating, but if it was off 48 that day, it would have run up to its mark. Right, the next race is 2 mile at Southwell. I don't think this horse stays 2 mile on the flat, even though it's ran over hurdles. I think it only just gets it over 1 mile and 6. You can see down there, I know it was 22 to 1. Keen holds it, outpaced. I certainly don't think. I think this horse is pretty one paced. So what I think it runs its best races from being prominent. So over the 2 miles, I don't think it was ever given a chance here. Towards rear, raced wide from over 4 furlongs out, headway over 3 furlongs out, hung left, weakened. I don't think it's got the speed to come from behind at Southwell over 2 miles. So it'll be held up last, and then it would have attempted to make its move, but then they've already got first run on it, and it's just going hell for leather to try and catch up with them. And it's not got that kind of turn of foot, even though it has raced okay over shorter. I just don't think this horse has got that turn of foot. So what I would like to see is I'd like to see something like that kind of midfield, press leader over 2 out. Then you've got this one. This would be the perfect run. Prominent, disputing second, press winner. So because I think it would be quite difficult to pass this horse then. So that's Billy Bathgate. All I'm saying is it should not be 18 to 1, although I've just seen 20s. So the fourth selection is Wiggins B. I've left the price. It's in the 230 at Redcar, paying 4 places instead of 3. It's currently 5 to 1. I've probably messed up here because if it's got a chance, it'll probably be a lot shorter. It's David Nicola Barron. It was gelded before it first ran last year. No, sorry, it was gelded in 2023. It ran in 2024 and didn't do a great deal. However, it didn't do a great deal, but as it's number 1 in this race in the handicap, it's still the best horse in the race. That's how bad this is. It never did anything. I think it is the type. I can't remember whether it's the mare or whether it's the stallion. I think it's the stallion that has got the American form on fast. It says fast. I'm guessing is that dirt or is that, I don't know. I'm not too familiar with American, but fast isn't heavy. I know that for definite. So I would say that the breeding line, and it's got a bit of American breeding line. So it did run once on the all weather, on good and on soft. So I don't think the all weather might have been okay, but I don't think the good and the soft would have brought the best out of it. And I also think it was very backward because it was gelded before it even ran. So hopefully, with a winter, um, maybe strength training, like growing in itself, Wiggins B might be a bit more straightforward and is off a decent handicap mark. So hopefully we'll see. But you'll probably know if it's fancied because it'll probably end up being, if it's fancied, it's currently 5-1. If it's fancied from the Baron stable, it'll probably be something like 5-2 favourite. If it's not, you might see, I don't know, sevens, eights, tens, and then who knows what kind of race it'll run. Right, we're off to Ireland again. So the next selection is Hamsayan in the 3:15 at Fairyhouse, paying 6 places instead of 4. AJ Martin. So there's a bit of a is known for having, well, most Irish trainers are now, for having plots. Well, this horse is round about a 2 mile on the flat. This horse has got 2 mile form over hurdles. It won at Cheltenham over 2 mile 5. It then ran no race whatsoever at Musselburgh over 3 mile. Don't know what happened there because it doesn't really contradict what I'm going to say. But then I think he can just have a bad run. And then next time out, it ran over 2 miles at Aintree, and it was never in the race because it was hampered earlier on and never involved. It's stepped back up to 3 mile now, which is, and I think this 3 mile will suit it. The 2 mile 5 at Cheltenham suited it, and the 3 mile at Musselburgh. I think horses can, oddly enough, run no race whatsoever at Musselburgh because it is a speed favouring track, and you can get too far behind, or maybe deliberately get too far behind. Who knows? But yeah, Hamsion, I think, is worth another try, and I think it's about. I think no, I was about to say 14s, then, but it's not. It's 8s, I think. Right, now this is the Fairyhouse Irish Grand National, and I tell you what, I really like the look of both of these. I'm gonna have to nip to the form just to remind myself, but in the 5 o'clock at Fairyhouse, the Irish Grand National, paying 7 places instead of 4, is Any Second Now and Will Do. Right, just give me a second, and I'm going to go to the form. What I look for is, it's not really the form, it's really what's it been up to before it goes to this race. And I think you kind of know what I mean, as in, like, how have they kept it under the radar by also giving it a challenge, but not upping its handicap mark. So it's 3 mile 5 at Fairyhouse. Any second now, so we'll click on this one. So Any Second Now. My other one is a stronger preference, but I still really like the look of this one. So basically, it's generally given 2 runs. Well, I'll say that. Forget that bit. So on the 18th of February, it ran in a listed race on heavy ground over 3 mile 3, marker 144, ran up to 120. So that means basically it ran below itself. Nace, 2 mile 3. Well, we know it doesn't want 2 mile 3. 131, 116. So it ran well below itself, which is fully expected. Then all of a sudden, monster performance, 140 to 149, came second in this race, the Fairyhouse Grand National last year. So what's it done this year? So obviously it's not been out since. So it's run at Fairyhouse again, 145 to 128. So it ran up. It was a pound higher than when it ran at Punchestown in its prep race last year, and posted 128 instead of 120 last year. So then it ran over hurdles last year, 131 to 116. So this year it ran to 141 and 130. So in my opinion, this horse is coming into this race at Fairyhouse in better form, and it's also off 139 instead of 140. So it's a pound lower. So it's a pound lower for running in this race last year, and it's currently 20 to 1. For me, that's too big a price. It looks like this horse, my other one might have been biked now. I'm sure Will Do a bigger than that. Anyway, I'll show you this one now. So Will Do. So for one thing, I can tell you now that Walk in the Park and Alderbrook, whenever they're involved in breeding, they want absolutely miles. Right. Chase, 131 is its current mark. So let's go down. So It's ran at Fairyhouse in the past. So if you look, right, just give me 1 second. So this horse, only 3 years ago, was a decent quality national hunt horse, and it was actually over 2 mile 2 mile 3. So that tells you it wants a distance, because obviously a lot of the national hunt flat races over 2 mile. You've got even got, I didn't even know they did that. Leopardstown 2 mile 4 furlong national hunt flat. They'll be doing 3 miles soon. So then it went straight over 3 miles, won well, and then it showed some good form. Yep. Forget the hurdles. So then it goes over chase fences, and I'm thinking honestly that this horse has been set up for this kind of race, because when you're over, in my opinion, when you're over national hunt flat, a lot of those horses tend to want a lot further. In my opinion, don't get me wrong, there are very good horses that have run on national hunt flat over 2 mile that become very good hurdlers. But the fact that it's starting over 2 mile 2 in chase, I think this is way too short for it. I think all these distances here, I think these are just schooling. Don't get me wrong, they are trying them, but they know full well that this horse will benefit when it steps up in distance. And how do I prove that? Well, here we go. So Galloway 2 mile 2, a mark of 115, a mark of 112, a mark of 115, stepped up to 2 mile 4, stepped up to Leopardstown 3 mile, ran the race of its life. All of a sudden, 123. Really appreciated that massive step in from its original 2 runs. It stepped up a mile, and it's ran it by far its best race. So then they bring it out in January. It runs. I didn't even notice this, but he ran behind Nick Rocket. Don't go on, beaten 31 lengths, but finished sixth of 18 over 3 mile 1. And then two times. The next time it ran at Punchestown. Fortune de Fortunata, off a 126 to 132, came second. And then at Cheltenham, he had every chance in this race, over 3 mile 6 behind Haiti Couleurs. Well, I think Haiti Couleurs is favourite for this race. So it was off 132 there. Good race. It's now off 131. I think this horse has got an absolutely outstanding chance. Let me just have a quick look at who rides it. So you've got, just give me 1 second. So it's interesting because you've got two Gordon Elliott horses here that are both ridden by claimers. 7 pound taken off, £7 taken off. I was wondering if Jack Kennedy's riding. Gordon Elliott's got another one down there. See, as you're well aware, I don't follow Irish racing, so it's got claimers on all of them. Gordon Elliott has. So yeah, that's what I think. What I think we'll do in any second now. I've got massively obvious chances. Oh, that's it. So let me show you how I've put the bet on. So I think I put something like 17 pound. I think in the end. I'm gonna have a look at the football. I'm not sure if there's any football. So as you can see, I've had 40p each. 20p each way singles. That's on every single selection. I've had 10p each way doubles. Then I've had 10p each way doubles, 10p each way trebles, 5p each way four folds, 5p each way five fold. Then actually had to round it up to even number. I've had a 15 pence each way six fold. It's extremely unlikely the six fold's going to come up, but if all it does if that does come up, that place 15 pence each way six fold, it just helps bring the house down, because obviously we're going to get a good bet up if they're all the others are placed anyway. So anyway, I hope I've explained that as best as I could. Whew. So it's time for a good clean up now. So I'll say goodbye to my little ducky. Chicken. Yeah, I've got one left. So it's going to be very lonely for it, but I'll do what I can for it. All those people with the pets, give them a little bit of a bigger hug today. Oh, you always know this day's coming, but when it does, it's very tough. So there might be a football bet in a bit. I'm gonna have a quick look now. I think there's football anyway, so it's probably just going to be. I don't really want to put any more money in, so I'm probably going to leave it at £4.50. So I might just have what. Just give me 1 second. I don't intend on putting any more money in, so there could well be. I'd like to think in them four horses there could be a return. So up to a tenner, I'm going to put an over 2.5 and over 3.5 goals double up on the football. I'll post the teams probably very shortly, actually, in the comments and in the description. So I wish you the very best of luck. Charlie Winters, over and out. Cheers, mate.